Yo guys, I'm gonna show you how fast you can make a beat with only one 808 sample. Let's hop straight into it. So the 808 is the fundamentals of all hip hop. I made a new 808 pack called 808 Fire, and I have another one called 8-08 at busyworksbeats.com. I think we're gonna use the new one because I customized all these. So let's pick a nice strong one. We want a long one, pause. Actually, we need one with a bit of a transient too. Actually, no. Let's use this one. Let's right click and open up. So first thing we're gonna do is make the kick. So let's clone this and let's shorten it out, fade it out. And what we're gonna do from here is give it a pitch dive, go to pre-computed effects, turn up pogo. So this creates what's called a pitch dive. Now it still needs to be a little bit faster. So what I'm gonna do is edit this in audio editor. Let's fade this out and then drag it back into the sampler. And now we just got to change the tuning here. So I'm going to just change the tuning right here. It still could be a little shorter. So let's pull back the decay curvature in the envelope. And now we just need it to boost. Let's hit Control L. Let's send this to the mixer. We're going to add a saturator that I like called standard clip. And then we're going to saturate it. That could be stronger, but let's just use that. Let's record a kick. All right, so now we got the kick. Let's quantize that thing. We don't want the kick envelope to be too long because it could change the way we perceive the kick. Now let's mess with that. What did we? I think we messed with the filter. This is good enough. All right, so now we have that. Let's clone this and let's add a snare. All right, so now the snare is going to be a super high pitch thing. Let's hit Control L, send it to the mixer. We need to pitch this up, so let's pull this up an octave. That's still not high enough, so let's go to this, pitch it up even more. Let's do 3 octaves up. Let's fade it out. Let's clone this. And the second one here, we need to distort to sound like noise. So let's hit Control L and figure out some kind of way to distort. Let's add Fruity Blood Overdrive. And let's turn the gain down, turn the preamp up. So our goal again is to turn this little ding into a noise sound. So we have to really squash the sample with distortion. There we go. Now to create noise, we need more frequencies. So let me pull up an EQ to see where we're at with it. So we do have the high frequencies. I want to see what happens if we pitch this down. So now we're getting more of the noise. So we need to sample this into something like Edison. So we could basically create a new sample. Let's record this. We just need the one sample though. All right, so now we have that sample. I know it seems random, but we're gonna highlight this, get rid of the sides, drag this back in as a sample, boom. And then we need to basically distort this even more and add curvature to it. So let's add a fade out. It needs to be shorter. Let's add an envelope here. Trying to figure out why some notes are longer than others. There we go. Oh, okay. We have the okay, that's why. There we go. All right, now we need a high pass filter to get rid of the lows here. Add a little more resonance. Needs a lot more volume here. And again, we're just trying to shape using an EQ. You need to give it a tone. So we're boosting using a bandpass boost, or a high resonance boost, I should say. Still needs more energy on this, so let's run it through a preamp again. Basically, we're just squaring off the audio with this preamp. All right, now let's shape it again after the EQ. Let's give it a fundamental by just boosting a high resonance. This needs a little bit of a better curvature, so let's pull the decay. Change the tension on the decay. And now let's add let me think, let's just record this into Edison and then we'll re-drag it back in. So as you guys can see, you can do a lot with the sine wave. Let's record this. As you guys can see, this is how you learn sound design, real world sound design, how to sound design your own drum kits. All right, now let's balance the tone with the so I needed to go up a hair. So to tune it, once you've run out of the pitch wheel here, actually we could just do the pitch wheel and just up it. Let's add an envelope here, make it a little bit shorter. Let's add a little time delay to the tonal part, so it's a little bit after the noisy part. So it goes like pring, like that. Now we just need the sound to feel more tuned to the other one. Let's fade it out, add more curvature. It's a little bright, still needs more envelope shaping. And let's tune this. Now it's got a pre-computed effects. Let's add stereo delay. All right, so we got a kick, we got the snare. That took a while because snares are very noisy. And now let's clone this. Let's create a hi-hat. Let's pull the range all the way up. Right click, fill each 2 steps. Now, hi-hats are similar to snares, how they're tonal. So let's get the tone out of it. And then we can shape this. Trying to think, what can we use here? Let's use a kilohertz transient designer to make it a little bit sharper. Okay, so let's sample this. So that's the metallic part of the sample. It's a little too tonal, however, so we need to make it a little more noisy-esque. Let's record this in. Okay, so we could be lazy and just call that the hi-hat, but let's add a little more detail to it. Let's drag this back in. So let's mess with the filters and the pre-computed effects here. And let's mess with this is a built-in low pass filter. Let's switch tabs. Let's go to the high pass filter right here. Again, it's very tonal. So let's run this through Fruity Blood Overdrive. We're going to distort it heavily. Again, we're just basically creating harmonics. So we even need this lower information, so I'm boosting this. Let's pull back on that little resonance point here, so it's not so tonal. Trying to think of a faster way to make it noisier. Let's try the pitch shifter from kilohertz. Let's turn up the jitter. This really just adds a smeary chorus on it. Doesn't make it as noisy as I need it. So I think, what other distortion stuff do I have? Let's try kilohertz distortion. So now we're just shaping the high frequencies here. So I like where it's at. It just needs a better shape. So let's give it a shape with the transient shaper here. Let's just lower the sustain. There we go. All right, so as you guys can see, it takes a while to get there, but we're there. Let's record this into Edison. Let's record this time on play, not just recording the input. On play is a little more accurate. Let's record. That way it lines up. We don't need to remove the left side. Now let's drag this back in and fill each 2 steps. I don't hear the sample for some reason. Where is that? Hold on, y'all. I must have dragged the wrong part of it. Okay, boom. There we go. Now we can tune it. And then again, we can fade this out. Use envelopes. So pitch down, it sounds like a wooden percussion. If you keep it pitched up, it sounds more metallic. So I like it pitched down a little bit. Now let's add the 808s and let's do a melody. Let's find our original. We got that. Boom. Double click. Pull this down. Control down. Let's tune this kick a little bit. Now we got the 808. Let's clone this, and now we could use this. Let's just put it on stretch mode and go to the tuning. Let's take off the envelope. And just right click different octaves to the left to raise it up an octave. And this should, hold on, let me take off. I think it's on cut itself, so we need to turn that off. So we have overlapping notes. Great chords if you wanted to. Now the CPU is going crazy, so hopefully this works. To make this more sustained, we need to right click, edit in the audio editor. We need to find one cycle or a small patch. Let's change our snap to grid to 0 crossing. Just highlight somewhere. We're going to loop this. and drag it into the sample. And then we're going to turn on loop points. Now, as you can hear, it's not looped right. So we need to fix that. So let's make sure. So this is really trial and error. Oh, actually, no, they fixed this. So you can have, okay, I didn't notice they did this. Let's add a little crossfade. Again, we can sit here all day to try to get the perfect loop. It's not going to really be perfect because the volume goes down too fast. So let's just leave it like that. Let's add some pre-computed effects, stereo delay. Let's figure out what we can add. Add this in, and then we'll add some more effects to it. So again, not a perfect sound by any means. Let's just move a little bit quicker here. Let's hit Control Q. Let's turn this down. It's kind of loud. And let's add some more effects. One's gonna be Fruity Stereo Enhancer. Offset that time a little bit. You need to fix the 808. I think it's out of key. Let's just redo the bass. Boom, 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 boom. Where'd the bass go? There we go. Let's add this. 1, 2, 3. So I was getting a little fancy at the end. Let's pull the snare back center. I just gotta figure out where it is. Here it is. Let me save this project here. All right, now we got the snare more centered. See what kind of melody we can create. Let's clone that 808. Go really high octaves here. Actually, we don't need to even time stretch the sample. We can just go to the keys here. Use a different route. Add this in. Dang, at the end I messed up. Hit Control Q. Let's run this through some effects here. We're just going to use any Let's use some Omnisphere effects. You could use any granular reverb for this. I'm just using Omnispheres. Let's add some halftime in here. See if we can get a dotted eighth delay. Oops. Set all this through gross beat. Let's do momentary. Let's mix this beat. Make sure everything's in the mixer. There's a couple tones that aren't. All right, let's add some Fruity Blood overdrive to this thing. Overkill. Yeah, I think because we already use it a lot, we already hear the tone of it. So doing it more is just gonna basically make it distorted. So it's pretty soft clipper. EQ into it. Turn it down afterwards. I'll shape that 808 a little bit. It's a little long. Rarely do I like clipping it inside the actual sampler, but sometimes it has a nice touch to it, like a Migos feel to it. I feel like we can shape the noise a little bit better. Could be better, but what can you do? We made this whole beat with one 808 sample, y'all. Shows how much you can do with sound design. If you want to learn sound design, go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. I'll show you how to sound design. Where is my compressor? for the melody. All right, it's this tone right here. So I'm gonna try one thing with the arpeggio to go up an octave. It might add something, it might not. I don't think it adds anything here. So that's how you do it. How to make a beat with an 808 sample. Subscribe if you're new. If you want to learn sound design, go to busyworksbeats.com/sound design. Peace out, guys. If you want to learn sound design, go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. I'll leave a link below. Peace out, guys.